a 12-year-old grown up. His eyes gloss as time turns memories of Arizona and fences. Never angry, even when old, he is stoic and strong. "What good is it to get mad?" he said. Money doesn't cure injustice or the mind, and certainly doesn't change being scared to go out on Pearl Harbor Day.
Hello, my name is Claudine Naganuma, and I'm a choreographer. I'd like to share some images that I have from my ancestors from the pre-war era. My Japanese side of my family came here to the United States through Hawaii. My great-grandfather was a Paneola on the Parker Ranch. Some of our family stayed in Hawaii, but some came to California, and during the West Coast sweep tried to move far enough away from the coast to avoid the sweep and move to Fresno. Unfortunately, that was not successful, and they were detained at the Gila River Reservation. After the war, they were moved to Ohio, where my grandfather was a baker, and then he eventually became the first Japanese to receive his plumbing contracting license. And when he came back to California, had his business in Japantown for many, many years, which is what my father did for a trade. George Naganuma was a plumber, and then also my brother. I had the great pleasure, once I became a professional dancer and choreographer, to work with Asian American dance performances in Unbound Spirit. And that really gave me an opportunity to delve into art as a tool for healing.
I have no answer to what I'm supposed to say to youth from, disenfranchised populations. There's not a 1-step, there's not a 5-step. I don't even have a 12-step program for them. I don't have any idea what it's going to take to give these kids a chance at life.
The narrative for success for people like me, kids that came from families like I came from, was different than the narrative of success that was given to wealthy kids. And so for me, success was defined by how far away from my own community I could get, how far away from my own people, how far away from my cousin on the corner. And which is the exact opposite of the way that success is defined for rich people, or even middle class kids to some degree, right? That success is often defined by them, by how closely they can replicate the lives in which they grew up. And so then, education, they always talk to me about school being like my chance to escape. And I didn't want to escape, right? I wanted to change the conditions that were going on in my community. I wanted to deal with the kinds of dysfunction that was happening in my family. I didn't want to run away from it.
My mother's side came from Hong Kong, and here is an image of the book that they had to study in order to get through the Angel Island immigration station. My mom was detained when she was 7, and it really wasn't until I became an adult that I realized the impact of having both parents incarcerated here in the United States. I definitely had a lot of rage and a lot of aggressive energy, a lot of pain that I was trying to work through my dances. These are images of the crane wife, half human, half crane, and also images from a dance that I adapted from dojoji, half woman, half snake. And I was really trying to find ways to transform pain and suffering and make sense of it. I really tried to use the environment, what is natural. I was always inspired by feathers and sticks and rocks and trees, and that was a way to feel grounded and rooted here in my body. And with my dance company, we were able to, and still are able to, continually turn over difficult subject matter and find ways to transform the pain and suffering by examining it, and then hopefully inspiring the audience also to examine and revision our future. One of the important parts of my work is an intergenerational component. I believe that working with both children and elders is very, very powerful and transformative.
I was diagnosed almost 13 years ago, right at the time that this millennium started. I was really young for a diagnosis of Parkinson's. I was 37. But for a lot of people, at first it's sort of difficulty moving. The feeling with Parkinson's is that you're almost sort of struggling against what's happening in your body. The sense that there can be an ease, and peace, and you can allow it to happen rather than fight against it.
When people come in here, we really treat them as dancers, not as patients. I think that that's kind of key, is just real humans dancing. And no matter what level of ability you are at, I think that the creative energy is pretty high in here.
It allows you to take a vacation. You lose yourself in the dance. You have just you and the music and the people dancing around you, and that's a lot of fun.
I love it. I keep saying it's the highlight of my life. Love the people. I love what we do. I love what I can do with my body in this class. And it's a gift.
I'm rusty, buddy.
One of the wonderful things that I've been able to do has been to work with people with Parkinson's disease. I've now been teaching dance for PD since 2007, and I have really learned a lot from working with this community. In particular, I've learned what it's like to truly have courage and tenacity, and I've also really learned about appreciation for the body. I really did not know very much about this degenerative disease until I launched into a full-fledged inquiry project called the Peace Project. I basically interviewed everybody who was willing to talk to me about what it was like to find out they had Parkinson's and how to manage it. How did it change their identity? How did it affect their lifestyle? dNaga was invited to be part of Dave Iverson's documentary called Capturing Grace, which was filmed in Brooklyn at the Mark Morris Dance Center, the originator of the Dance for PD program. Since then, we've been invited to perform at various World Parkinson's Congresses, and the most recent one was in Kyoto, Japan. It was there that we launched our new book, which was published in 2019. It was in half English and half Japanese, and I really found that there was quite a lot of stigma in discussing the disease, because we don't really talk very much about things that are uncomfortable. And I'm hoping that art can really be a way to destigmatize some of these challenging issues so that we can find ways to transform and heal.
I think one thing that they could be free, that they should always try to keep other people from tying them down. And especially Asian families, a lot of times they don't like to see the girls especially, be too free. But I think Asians need to be independent and do more things and see more, They'd be happier, I think.
致母亲，带着爱与痛，你给了我生命，也付出了许多时间、工作和未来，作为养育我多年的代价。然后你对我松手了，我知道你经历了很多，你值得被接受和理解。 你完全可以失败、生病或者哭泣。
But for my mom, she would have wanted me silent and more submissive, but I can't be that person because that's just not who I am. And I think that just goes with the generation difference for both of us. So I feel like if I was a perfect daughter, it would be me growing up in Indonesia and seeing her point of view completely and acting that way. But that's not how it turned out.
How to say I love you in our language. She didn't tell us that. It's very unspoken of. So I don't know, I've tried even hugging. I want to hug her right now, and so I hugged her, and then it was so very, I don't know, I'm still trying to overcome that awkwardness of it and try to normalize it with my relationship with my mom. It's still pretty hard though.
Was very kind, but there was no I love you. Yeah, it's the same. I think it's the same across Asia, honestly. There's no I love you, and there's very little affection too. So as I've gotten older, I'm trying to teach my mum how to be affectionate. So I'll say to her, put your arms around me. Now squeeze, keep squeezing. And she gets embarrassed and giggles. And I say, Amma, I love you. And she says, thanks. And I say, no, you say it back. So I'm trying to teach Amma. She never had it from her mum. Abai never said, I love you, I'm proud of you, give me a hug. So I'm trying to teach her now.
I really make my way through this world through dance. I find that it's a way to connect with community. And whether I'm working with children or with teens, adults, or elders, I find it's an excellent way to transform energy and also to inspire creativity. 7 years ago, I started the Girl Project. It's a project that takes place at Eastside Cultural Center in East Oakland. And the purpose is to develop a circle of sisterhood. Girls have an opportunity to learn art forms such as dance, visual arts, spoken word, and they have an opportunity to learn about urban planning, self-defense, safety around bike riding and agency. And the purpose is for us to really develop a community that is safe and strong for the girls to thrive in as they grow into adulthood.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news talking this and that. Wednesday